Hey guys, this is the 9th episode of the Learning Podcast, and if you're unsure, it's simply a podcast dedicated to learning something new from every single guest that comes on this show. And today, I have with me a friend I met through LinkedIn, and it's actually the first time I'm meeting him as well. And I think if you aren't utilizing LinkedIn as a platform, I think you really should, and it gives you the opportunity to meet a lot of fantastic people. And today, I have with me a guest. His name is Gabriel, and he studied architecture in SUTD. So, and there's a whole suite of reasons why I think you should be listening to this podcast. He's working on his own side hustle, Arc Logbook. Is it Arc Logbook?
That's right.
Okay, Arc Logbook, and he's currently working in Sembcorp as well. So, I've always been very fascinated by the kind of perspective that architecture students or architectural graduates bring. Oh my gosh, it's a mouthful to
That's correct.
say that.
Architectural graduates.
Architectural graduates,
or designers,
right?
yeah.
Designers,
yeah.
Okay. Like the kind of perspective that I know that they can provide, right, is very different. So that's why I really am fascinated by that kind of worldview. The way they see not just a building on its own, but the way they see structurals, they see, the kind of principles that you learn in architecture. Not to say that I'm an architecture. I have no idea about what architecture studies is all about, but it's more of looking through the world in a very different lens, and that's why I know I'm talking in very macro, broad terms, right? But I really do mean it, and I find it very fascinating as well. So for Gabriel, for those listeners that don't know who you are, right, could you just give a very quick backstory of who you are, where you come from, and what you're currently doing right now?
So hi, I'm Gabriel. I'm an architectural designer from Sembcorp. I am, I would say, almost 26 this year. Yeah, I am currently doing architectural design for the defense industry. Can't say any more than that. It's a lot of NDA inside, right? But yes. I'll try to be as broad and hope to draw some analogies from it. Yeah, and I'm also having a side project called Arc Logbook. So if you search on Instagram, Arc Logbook, that is my passion project where I share about architectural basics, try to democratize architectural education for the masses, so anybody can actually learn more about what we do as an architectural designer.
So going back all the way, right, I think there's two things that I need to ask you.
Sure.
Why do you choose SUTD? Because SUTD to me, it seems like it's a very new place and there's a lot of opportunities there as well. And secondly, why do you choose architecture to study with? So,
alright, so why SUTD?
Yeah.
So, okay, prior to being to join architecture in SUTD, I was considering NUS. So NUS actually is to me is one of the better, well-known architectural schools. So it's basically because they don't want me.
Oh, okay. So, but at the end of the day, do you really think that there is a difference between NUS or SUTD or whatever? At least from my perspective,
I think the debate is really still there. We do different parts of architecture. We try different methods and approaches to go and learn architecture. For SUTD, it's very different because we start with a common curriculum. So actually, I'll explain why SUTD first. Because SUTD to me is like, we actually have a different approach. We actually have a first year course that is like JC, we learn about sciences.
So this appeals to all kinds of studies for all students in SUTD. They take the same basic course in their first year before venturing into their specialization.
Yeah, so just like JC, but we actually have additional topics like programming. We also have
It's cool.
Yeah, so actually I'm quite proud to actually learn programming at SUTD because I think it's a very essential skill. Yeah, we also learned about the sciences again. So to me, as an architectural enthusiast, back then I was a bit bored, but I felt that I needed to learn all these sciences before to fully understand architecture in the bigger context.
In the bigger context, right? Why architecture?
So why architecture? I've been fascinated by buildings, actually, and
this kind of fascination, did it start since young, or it was something that you mainly thought about after finishing your A-levels or during army?
I think in JC I was doing a hybrid course, so I've been doing H2 Econ, H2 Math. It's already a hybrid, so I can do sciences and math and arts and geography also. So
that's
a very interesting combination. I've always felt that I'm more like a generalist. Like I don't find a specialty in one specific area. And I think all throughout my life I've been realizing that partly I know a few things. I know them in detail. I wouldn't say I'm a master at one particular thing. So that's why architecture is actually, when they first pitched to me from SUTD, they pitched to me such that architecture is the science and arts of a building.
The fusion of both specializations.
You get to actually experience and to understand the different aspects of a building. Like you need to know the physics to understand the thermal of the building, thermal energy, for example, or you can talk about arts, about people, about even the way we communicate and how people's routines can actually affect the way we design the building.
So for a layman like me, right, can you share with me, at least in a very general sense, right, the kind of, you say, special perspective that architectural students have? Like what makes architecture studies so unique in general?
So it's not just an arts, I would say. So actually, as I mentioned before, we actually been doing a lot of studies in history of buildings. Of
history, is it?
Yeah, about histories of cultures. That means like how people have lived throughout the years, their house layouts, for example, how have people been working, routines, even habits, even on the environmental side, we should learn about climate. So all these different aspects of like different layers to a building. The design itself is holistic in a way, and architects actually do think about all of these aspects before designing a building or while designing a building. And actually, it is the most important part is actually to talk to the user before that, understand their needs, their wants, and actually like a problem-solving methodology. We actually try to understand their deepest desires. Like is it just a good house, or is it why do you need a good house? So actually we question them like why and why. If you ask them why again, why do I want a good house? Oh, I need to show off my house to somebody, to show that my affluence is there.
The purpose of a house, it just goes more beyond than just the materials of the.
Yeah, so try to truly finding out ultimately what your user really wants, and the user could be like a big group of people, or it could be just an individual household. So the scale actually depends, and I think throughout the entire course of our SUTD architectural, we get to experience different thought processes, different ideas, different theories. We also explored with like parametric design, like using data to help us design, or using AI to actually,
like programs that help automate or generate floor plans.
That's
that
right.
kind of stuff?
Yes, correct. So actually nowadays there's a debate because the role of the architect it is actually changing a lot, and I mean there's one camp saying that it still need that human connection, you still need that human touch, right, to design with the mind. But some of us might think we actually need the AI and the machine learning to complement our current processes and to actually,
I mean, are there any examples of buildings that that are AI designed or like
not at the moment? I think AI currently is still in the early stage.
Okay. So it's not at that stage whereby here's a building. It's not at that stage, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was but it's progressing towards that.
So the terminology is like generative design. So how can machines play a part in creating design options for, let's say for example, we have, usually as architect we can create options for the client to choose, right? So the machine can actually create multiple options, like hundreds and thousands of options.
Permutations.
Yes, correct.
Based on the real world expertise as well as the needs and requirements of the clients.
Yes, like cost. Correct. Like cost, like the number of floors, like area, height.
So is it like literally just a program? Like what program is this?
So we use Rhinoceros. Yeah, and Rhinoceros also have a plugin called Grasshopper, which is actually pretty cool.
Okay.
It's been changing the way.
Can you break it down in layman's terms? Like what is Rhinoceros? What is Grasshopper? What are plugins? I mean, I know what plugins are, but I'm sure they are very different in the architectural sense than video plugins, right? So what is Rhinoceros?
So Rhinoceros is pretty funny because the way they name their software is all animals.
Okay.
So Rhinoceros actually is a software by McNeil. It's actually a 3D modeling software.
Okay.
So Grasshopper is a plugin to Rhino, right? And it also provides additional functionality like parametric design. It allows.
Sorry, I don't know what parametric
design is. Something like, so you set parameters, right?
Okay.
Let's say, like programming, we have parameters such as like your name is.
Okay, got it.
And then after that, using the parameters, we can actually inform the design. So we create some sort of like, we link it to a geometric function. That means like, a function could be like, when you're baking a cake.
Yeah.
The function is like you can actually put it in the oven. That's a statement.
Okay.
So you declare it in your program. So let's say I want to input all of my parameters, like my floor area, my site,
the cost, the
materials, Actually, anything that can be quantified, they can inform the design.
Like temperature,
Yes, even climate, yeah.
wind directions, the position of the sun relative to the.
Yes.
Also, you can put all this in and you automatically calculate. What are certain errors? Let's say in the bedroom, you don't want the sun to be glaring.
Yeah. So you adjust the openings accordingly.
Oh, okay.
So that's the data part of architecture that is pretty new to us. And a lot of architects.
Is it something that you guys learn in SUTD? Like all architectural students will use this?
Yes.
Is it common across like NUS students or like architectural students all over the world?
I'm not too sure about NUS, but I think they are starting to actually experiment with that. I mean, before we came in, I don't think they actually started on that, but I think since the competition and everything, and there's a shifting towards this data-centric design methodology, I think they are starting to do as well. Yeah.
So moving on, right? After SUTD, you entered Sembcorp. Can you just, in a very general sense, I know you're working in the defense industry, it's very sensitive. Like, in a very general sense, what are you doing at Sembcorp?
What am I doing at Sembcorp? Okay, so I am a project architect for one of the projects for DSTA, which is Defense Science and Technology Agency. I can only say that I'm just designing a building for them, for their operations, basically. Like for the Army, or for the Navy, or for the Air Force.
So it's like a contract within these government entities, like Sembcorp goes to Sembcorp.
So Desta is actually our client.
Okay.
So we have helped to actually design and to develop the design and to make sure that we can complete it on time, etc. So what architect does is actually to coordinate. Other than designing, I mean, it takes up very short amount of time actually. Most of the time we spend it on coordination.
Are you allowed to share the time horizon? Because I know in Sembcorp you are attached to projects, right? How long are these projects for? Do they range from a couple of 3 to 4 years before? Because I know a building obviously takes a lot of time to build, right? What is the time duration for all these?
Typically for let's say for a condo project, right, a residential project, will be 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah, from the start of design all the way to the contract end. They finally build a building and they approve it and it can be occupied.
So for yourself, at any one time, you're in charge of this project alone, or are you stretched across different projects at the same time?
Right now, I am between projects.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, it's good to know different. Because usually, what we do is we have 2 projects, but we have in different phases. So one project might be in the design stage, and the other project might be in the coordination / construction stage.
If there are some people interested in architecture, or at least interested in eventually landing up eventually interested in working in Sembcorp for the long as a full-time job, right? What kind of I know this is very general, but what kind of advice would you think that this job would appeal to someone? What characteristics would someone need to work well in an organization like Sembcorp in very general terms?
I would say if you're considering to work in Sembcorp, I mean, our culture is pretty good in a way that we actually are like family. So we actually help each other out. We try to explain things if you don't understand anything. And I would say the heart to learn, the willingness to learn, and to just absorb everything. If this is your first job, I would think this is the best opportunity to get, because there are projects to do, and you will definitely learn something.
Okay, so moving on, right, it seems that every case that I bring on this show, right, has a certain kind of side hustle, right? Could you share more about this side hustle that you're doing?
Sure. So Art Logbook on Instagram is a passion project of mine. So what I'm trying to do is actually to dissect the different parts of architecture and to present it in a very easy to understand visual format. And if you go search on Instagram, I think currently I started this in June this year. And right now we have been pretty good in terms of engagement.
So for verbal, I'll link those Instagram accounts at handle, because I've been seeing them on LinkedIn as well. They're very nicely, very nicely designed and very neat, and it presents information in such a nice way. I also know that you have a website, right? Webflow, right?
Yes.
Webflow is quite a new tool in terms of designing websites as well.
That's right.
So what is the long-term goal of this ArcLog? It's just to simply make architectural information accessible to the mass, but is there a long-term tangible goal that you want to achieve, or just something that you want to get the word out for and that's not really a tangible thing to achieve?
So right now I have a few plans in my mind. So what's the problem I'm facing? I mean, I feel that most of us are facing as architects or architectural designers. There's a lot of information everywhere. There's everything, we need to know building codes, we need to know all these different informations that is like spread out all around the web, right? So my first goal is actually to consolidate all of this information and to make it easy to understand. So to help those between starting for the first job or maybe in school.
So it's targeted mainly at university people.
University people as well as the first job, like architecture. Because there's a prevailing problem of having the practice of architecture versus in school is pretty different.
Different, is it?
It's very different.
I think it's similar across all.
Yeah, I think it's the whole industry. I mean, yeah, it's quite similar in terms of what you get to do actually as an architectural designer versus being a student. So being a student is like you learn about design, just purely design, and you don't consider about the real world implications. Yeah, and also about coordinating with other disciplines like engineers or contract surveyors, all these.
So all these kind of information that you're putting out, I mean, is it right to say that you once taught PEs when you were at SUTD? Do you feel like the curriculum is, in general sense, is very outdated? I might be
I wouldn't say outdated, I would just say it's just part of it. And it's not complete, not holistic enough. And one of my aims is actually to bridge that gap between practice and school, right? So that's my first objective. But also to understand that I can also recall being a student that I didn't know much entering architecture.
So you are putting out information that you wish you had as a university graduate.
Yeah, correct. Actually, even before,
even before, like
as I was still
studying
studying
the JCK, having a general interest towards architecture. Can you just list me some of the key points, right, that you wish that you knew as a architectural student, or even before you went into working full time as an architectural designer? Like, what are the kind of the difficulties that you face that you wished you knew before?
So the number one lesson I've learned, right? Number one lesson is 10% of the time is spent on design.
Sorry?
10% of the time is spent on design.
Where's the other time?
The other 90% is coordination, a lot of meetings.
Oh, okay.
A lot of
working with other professionals to just gel everything together. And wow, okay, 10% only.
I would say it's around that percentage. Unless you are a architect, like a star architect, you know, they worship together, like Frank Gehry or
architect. Oh my gosh,
that's a term actually.
Oh really? It's an actual term. Okay, I thought it just came on my own. That's cool.
Yeah, like, so they spend all the time. Is it right
to say like the person who designed, like say like infamous, okay, no, if not infamous, but famous buildings like Marina Bay Sands? Yeah, star architect. Yeah, who's the architect of
Moshi Safti?
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Going back to.
But he designed the Jewel, by the way. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Oh, it's the same person, is it?
Same person. Yeah. So if you realize there's some elements of MBS in Jewel, just a fun fact. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you see the lobby, and the way they actually have that curve, continuous path.
Oh, it's similar to the Marina Bay Sands that curving exactly up towards and okay.
Yeah. I would say So architects like them, they design all the time, you know.
Okay, so
they pass the designs to somebody else to do.
The percentage of time that they spend designing is like 90%.
I would say so.
90. Yeah. So, but for architecture graduates, it's opposite, 10%.
It's the opposite, yeah.
So are you striving to do more design, or are you comfortable with like doing the other works that are necessary? To be honest, what's your interest?
Yeah, I'm actually comfortable in just to try to do all parts of architecture, and also embrace the fact that I can actually coordinate with engineers to understand how they actually think about buildings as well, because it's actually very different. They are more like objective.
Can this work?
Can this stand? How does the wire go up? How does the pipes? All these things that you don't think about as an architectural student, it actually plays a part in architectural firms. Yeah, and we don't think about it at all. So, but also once knowing the facts and like the way they think, it also helps me to understand architecture in a different way. Yeah, so that lesson I feel
that you need to design in consideration of other professions. Yes, you can't be just a selfish person and like, I like this and I'll design in that.
You're not designing a building with just no lights. No lights, no aircon.
Yeah, definitely.
No water. Yeah, this all comes into play with the M&E, the mechanical and electrical disciplines.
So can you just share with me the general career path of like an architectural designer? Sure. Is it common for all? I don't think so. But is it common for all architectural designers to eventually be star architects? Or I mean, it depends on your interest, right? I don't know about this, but is there like specializations that you can go into for the kind of buildings that you build?
So, there are different answers to that. So, firstly, most architectural designers strive to be a licensed architect. So myself actually trying to log my hours to say what I'm doing, what I've learned in my journal. And eventually, after 2 years, we'll get to meet the board of architects to also have an exam on all the building codes, all the Architects Act, stuff like that. And not all architectural designers want to be a qualified person or an architect.
Okay.
Yeah. Some architectural designers move on to be in different fields like interior design, environmental sustainability, very specialized fields.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So in that way, also quite interesting because actually the role of architect is actually diversifying. It's becoming very, I can be an architect, but I'm more focused on one area instead of doing everything at once. Yeah.
Can you tell with me why is it so sensitive to segregate architectural students or architectural graduates compared to architects? Like, okay, for those listeners that don't know, right, you can't just go around calling any person.
That's right.
Like, technically, Gabriel here is not an architect. He's an architect. This word, architect. He's an architectural graduate. So why is there like a clear segregation? Because I know it's a very respected profession.
It is.
And the board of architects, right? There's a high code of standard that is held to architects, and you can't just go around saying, I know there are, at least for my previous architectural friends, right? They say, oh, you can't, as an architect, you can't go, oh, this building sucks, because you need to respect the profession, and there's this like underlying code. Like, can you tell me why?
You search on Google Architects Act. So
Architects Act.
Yeah. So
is it like an international?
It's a statute. It's like a law.
Okay, so is it like a global law? Is it?
No, only for Singapore.
Oh, only for Singapore.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think there's one paragraph talking about like disgracing the profession. This is not the right thing to do. Something like that. Yeah. So, and I think it's respected because we do a lot.
Yeah.
And architects actually important in the building industry. Yeah, we actually ensure the whole project goes smoothly. We coordinate. We are in charge of coordinating between disciplines, and we know all the building codes. We make sure that we comply with everything.
What are building codes?
Building codes. Oh, so for those who don't know building codes, right? So it's basically a manual of sorts to understand how the building is to be designed based on, for example, fire safety.
Okay.
There's also building itself, like how wide the corridor should be, how like tall headroom, like how tall this unit should be.
If there's a fire, right, you must imagine like, oh, what should you do?
Yeah, it's correct.
If I don't know, if a plane crashes in the middle of the building, you must have like a logical plan for people to escape, all that kind of stuff. Because you must consider so many possibilities that could happen to this building. Right?
Yes, correct. So even it depends on the function of the building. So let's say if it's a residential, the way we plan our lobbies and the staircases, even placing the hose reel and the fire alarms, how far apart they should be, all these are actually planned before we actually build the project.
Can I ask like a stupid question?
Oh, sure.
Like, do you guys like associate you guys like with feng shui and stuff? Like, because when you talk about that, it reminds me of feng shui. Oh, you need to put this between there, all that kind of stuff. Is there a trend? Is there like a
I actually do believe
connection? Oh, you do believe in feng shui?
I don't believe in feng shui, but I know MBS also has a feng shui. Like,
so when it comes to designing all these kind of big ass buildings, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that they take into consideration like this kind of feng shui or like, I don't know, past history of the land or some such? No?
I'm not too sure, but in MBS, the way they curve the building and the direction it curves has a significance as well.
How so?
It's just the direction of like luck coming in.
Oh,
you just get it luck.
So like as an
like you see, it's like a big curve, right? Like this, right? So imagine this is the MBS, then luck comes from this side.
Oh, okay.
Prevent it from going elsewhere.
So like the architect would like consider feng shui master.
I think it depends on
all kind of stuff.
It depends on the client, especially. Yeah.
It depends on the client, right?
Yeah.
In this case, who is the client for MBS?
Genting, I think. Yeah.
Genting?
Or is it just RWS?
Yeah, no, the client that commissioned is the Singapore government, right?
Okay.
We're talking about things beyond our realm.
Yeah.
Right? What is your favorite building in Singapore?
Wow, that's very tough.
Top three.
Top three.
This is cool.
I love Oasis Terraces. That is at Punggol.
Oasis Terraces.
Yeah,
I'll be sure to link that up in the.
Yeah, I'll send it to you too. And it's a community club. I mean, not really community club. It's a new generation community center.
Okay.
Yeah, you know like our Tampines Hub.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite similar typology. We have all the different amenities like clinics or
in a single place,
basketball court, all these, all in one building. Yeah.
Okay, like so you're talking about it sounds to me that you're talking more about the functionality of the
Yeah,
building,
like
right?
what is it for?
So
right?
is that the main factor that makes you like this building, or is like wow, this angle of the curve is so nice? Like what other
I think
kind of
it's
factors do you decide?
It's a lot of factors. So
Primarily is
primarily it's a function.
functionality
Yes,
of
yes.
it.
Whether it
What
works.
other variables do you see in the kind of building that perhaps a layman like me would never see?
Right. So I think architects actually look at the thought process behind it. So why is this space, like this open space at this particular location? Why is it facing this very nice Punggol waterway?
Yeah.
Why is the height of the open space so tall? And like how is it successful in a way that people are actually using the space as intended? And if you see the Oasis terraces, you see this very nice outdoor terrace. You see like you can actually walk up the terrace all the way to the roof. It's a landscape area.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
so it's pretty nice. And
Is it open to the public?
It is, it is.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
you should go check it out. And I think we do see things that laymen don't see, like like the culture and like the intention of the design. Even like climate, how do you feel in that space? Do you feel comfortable?
The temperature of it,
Yeah.
why is it so hot in the afternoon? All that kind of
Even
stuff.
for lighting as well, is it bright enough? Even the colors, the structure, how efficient is this? Yeah, these kind of things. I'll also credit SUTD for that, because they trained us in that way of viewing a building and viewing design through different layers. Yeah, but yes.
What are the other two?
The other things, other two buildings.
Two buildings that you like. Maybe it's not in Singapore, like just in general.
Right. I love Jewel. A little bit of Jewel.
What about it? So
I
functionality.
I don't love the circular shopping center area.
Okay.
But I do love the waterfall and the central zone where people just hang out there and just chill and just stare at the fountain, waterfall. Yeah, it's a very nice space. I think, even though they took it from MBS, MBS is a basement waterfall. Yeah, they just basically took it and
make it big.
Yeah, it's the same architect, right? So so
okay, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, in MBS there is a big like waterfall area.
Yes, correct. So to me, it's pretty cool. Like they're able to take that concept and to enlarge it and to create a different spatial experience for them, and for Singaporeans to actually gather and to call it home, or it's like a new icon also.
Can I ask, right, like to a layman like me again, like how long would it take to design? Let's say this architect, like how long would you think that how long do you think he took to design it? Because you're saying like there's this whole chain of command. Maybe he like does 5% and just like throw it to the designers, and the designers will like do everything.
I think that is the case.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it depends on the soul of the architect. Sometimes they might take a longer time to design. But I don't know, it could range from a few weeks to a month. Just like simple sketches. And then they just, here you go.
Oh, okay. So that's how it works for architects.
Yeah, correct.
Are you aiming to be a architect?
No, I'm not.
Why not?
I don't think we should be. I'm of the view that architects should be a complementary role. It shouldn't even be just us and the team. It should be a more collaborative approach to designing buildings. Because nowadays we have so many more needs and wants. You guys probably expect more from the building.
Yeah.
Not just functionality anymore, but it's like comfort. It's like knowing what to do there, like the culture, and helping you guys to maybe bond over something at some event.
Architecture changes lives. Like
it changes lives.
It's where people meet with each other, and so many things can just happen from there. So you're just facilitating the venue. Although it sounds like a very boring thing, I think it's very fascinating. Like maybe it's because of like this feature that something happened that changed someone's life forever. I think, but that is as well holds great responsibility because like I'm sure you have seen like what bridges falling down, collapsing, or that kind of. It's this kind of technicalities that you need to make sure that are alright, because it changes lives in a sense, in a positive ways and negative ways. It kills people as well. So I think there's a lot of responsibilities that architects have.
Yep.
Right. Okay, so shifting gears, right? Can you just share a little bit more about the kind of books that you're reading, just in a very macro sense? Because right now we're moving on to the less architectural discourse and more of like the general kind of trends, or at least the kind of things that excites us as young Singaporean millennials. And that's the reason why I feel that like when I meet someone from LinkedIn, I find it very amazing that like everyone has a side hustle. It seems like there's always this sense of is dissatisfaction or what? Kind of
like an itch to do something.
Yeah, itch to do something, and I don't mean dissatisfaction in a negative way. I think it's like the kind of drive that you have. Like, I don't know. Okay, maybe it's the people that I meet.
My own, like I can own it.
Yeah, you can own it. You want control over, is it? What are the kind of books are you reading right now?
So right now I'm reading a book about collaboration.
Yeah. What's the title of this book and who is it written by?
Don't recall.
Don't recall, is it? Okay, you can tell me after this podcast then.
I will share with him later.
Okay, what's the key ideas from this book?
The key idea is like collaboration is there's the reasons why it's successful and why it's not why it fails.
So does it give case studies on why it's successful? Now, what kind of examples do they give?
They do give case studies. Actually, myself, right, I don't really can remember all the concepts of the book.
Okay.
I think about books. Pick up the.
I think
do you read books, right? Do you remember the concepts like way after you read it, or it's like you need to
I think it's
yourself?
something that triggers it because my perspective of reading books is that it's written in such a way where it won't be able to fully resonate with your life at certain points, but when you look back and you live through life, then sometimes like there's this trigger, then you go back to the book and reread the new concepts.
It's like one big idea.
Yeah, but
remains in your mind, right? Yeah.
Because I've always been dwelling the fact why when I read books, right, I don't fully absorb what they write, but I've embraced that. I've embraced that to understand that when I read a book, the only thing I'm going to take away is like just 3 or 4 concepts, and that's fine by me because my life experience is limited in a way that it's not able to resonate that much with the book as well.
Yeah.
Wait, why am I even saying this? What about collaborations?
Yeah, so far I've read this part of the book where it talks
what's
about
the key idea?
The key idea is about why collaboration is successful is because of a few factors. So one is like having a shared goal, and also being able to like let go of the ego, to actually start to understand that we are actually working towards a common goal and not to just be privately interested in our own personal interests, but to actually lay down the expectations. Yeah, and why sometimes it fails because of ego also about lack of communication. That's actually very critical.
Yeah. I know it's a very the question I'm going to ask you is, the question I'm going to ask you is like very broad, very tough, but for my life experience, right, I think ego is something that is very fascinating, and I mean it's very easy to tell people put down your ego, don't let your ego get in the way. Yeah. But I find myself at times struggling with that, and when I meet people that, because it's very easy to judge others and say that can you put down your ego and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But how do you dissolve your ego? Because sometimes when you meet people, they grew up in a circumstance whereby they have shaped their ego into be such in a very entrenched manner. And it seems like, I know this is a very extreme statement to make, but it seems like there's no possibility of working with such people, right? Like how do you work towards dissolving your own ego? That
like everybody has something to teach. Or maybe we rephrase that. I can learn from anybody in the world.
There's something to be learned from every single guest on the show. That's right. Okay.
Yeah,
so to have that perspective.
Yeah, so knowing that I don't know everything.
Yes.
And there's always something to learn from somebody. That already breaks down my ego because I know that I'm here to help and I can share my opinions, but I can also say that their opinions also adds value to the conversation, and it just doesn't like, even if it conflicts with your own view, like I think the first step is actually not to take that view and throw it back, but to actually take it and internalize it and to say, I start to see your points of view maybe, but I don't agree and why, in a very amicable way. Yeah, that could be one way to dissolve the ego, like for myself. I mean, it's also very it's a way we communicate, like we want to actually work together, not just to go my way and then that's it. Then what's the point of this conversation in the first place, right?
I think it's interesting that you bring up a point whereby you say you tell yourself to dissolve your ego. You tell yourself that you know nothing much and there's always something to be learned from someone else. And I think this kind of concept resonates. Actually, I was listening to this podcast this morning. Do you know Mark Manson? He's quite a famous author, right? Yeah. And he talks about how this self-help industry, right, is pushing positivity, like, you can achieve your goals. Everything is framed in a positive light. But he, in general terms, he doesn't agree with that because he feels that it's not a sustainable methodology. People are profiting through causes and all that kind of stuff. And how he looks at self-help, right, is the way you framed it to be, which is that one of the tenets that he said was, I'll link it up in the description. One of the tenets he talks about is, you suck. Try to suck less. So that kind of that goes in line with your perspective as well of taking this humble perspective that you don't really know anything much. Try to suck less and try to learn from others as well. So I thought that was very fascinating. What are the other key ideas from this book?
So I think that's really about it.
What other books are you reading?
Other than that, I've read books about habits, like Charles Duhigg, Habit Loop. You know, that's the standard one.
Okay, sorry, I don't know what's the title of this book again?
The Habit Loop.
The Habit Loop.
Yeah.
What?
By Charles Duhigg.
What's the key concept?
The key concept is just that habits. When you build habits, right, there is three aspects. So it's the cue. Cue is actually like the trigger, maybe like a emotional trigger or a sensory trigger, like and
a
then
smell, a sight,
yes, correct,
a scent.
And then the second stage of that is the behavior. Then after that's a reward. Yeah, so it's actually like a loop. So if you're able to adjust certain parameters to get the cue, maybe to process it as such that the behavior is tied to the cue, and to get the achieved reward such as like satisfaction or dopamine, like things that make you happy. Yeah, then you're able to build habits from that.
So that's how you build habits to find a trigger, and to once you have this trigger, you do the action.
Yes.
And do the action, then
you get the instant reward.
You get the instant reward of it.
That's how habits form.
So what habits have you formed?
I've been trying on and off to exercise really well.
Exercise,
yeah,
okay.
Like running, stuff like that. Been trying to read books. Yeah.
What kind of triggers do you find?
I try to find, so there's some triggers such as like time. So time of day, like in the morning. So if you plan out properly, right? Let's say in the morning you always go to the train. So that could be your trigger, right? That is your environmental trigger. And then you do the action. But you need to, the key is actually to link that reward. So reward could be like physical reward, like emotional reward, happiness, or maybe even connection, love, that kind of things.
So is this 3 steps in sequential order?
Yes,
or it is sequential order?
Yeah.
It's not like dynamic, is it?
Oh no, so cue is always first. So there will always be a cue. And once you get that cue, you actually reminder of the activity. Because you know the reward is there. After doing the activity.
Interesting.
So it's A, B, C, like start to finish. And then it goes back again. Because when your brain knows that, I did this action, and it brings a certain satisfaction to your brain, and brain is knowing that I must store this habit in a habit list in my brain. I think there's some technical term, or like the part of the brain that actually stores all these memories. Or like,
are you familiar with NLP?
Natural?
NLP, like neuro-linguistic programming.
No, not really. Yeah.
Because the thing I was asking you whether it's sequential or not. I recently read this book. Okay, sorry, I'm sharing. But I recently read this book called by this guy called Jordan Belfort. Do you know who Jordan Belfort is? He's actually the person that the movie The Wolf of Wall Street was all wrong. Did you watch The Wolf of Wall Street?
I did. Yeah.
So this was the guy.
Right.
So the book I'm reading is called The Straight Line Persuasion, and it basically talk about sales in general. And the way that he sees it is very different. You talked about the cue, which is the trigger. Second is the action. Third is the reward, the feeling, right? So he goes about, because when it comes to closing people, right, you need to be in a very confident state, and you always want to be in a very like hyper state when you are very confident. Okay, you close, like you want to get a deal, right? It's very. So what he does is that whenever he closes a deal, because there's all these dopamine rush, and he's very high mentally and emotionally, right? At that point, right, he sets a trigger for himself. So at every time he feels so powerful, right, he'll take a scent and he'll take a sniff of something. I don't know, a perfume or what.
Maybe it's weed.
Sorry?
Is it weed?
No, okay, no, it's not. The fantastic thing is not weed. Right. It's something that is so distinct that it's a smell that you cannot really find anywhere else. So he carries it with it all the time when he was a salesman. So whenever he closes someone, he gets high on his own, like naturally, and he smells it. So at every time when he wants to go back to this state of mind, right, he'll sniff this material. And I'm fairly confident that it's not like harmful to you or whatever. It can be just a perfume or
the way
whatever.
It associates things. So
it's funny. It's funny how like this author, right? He writes it must be. I wouldn't say must, but he feels that it must be in sequential order. But like when I read this book, it's kind of the same thing but similar at the same time. And that's why I find it very fascinating. I'm not sure about you when you read across books, right? Yeah. They might not be related to each other, but somehow the kind of general principles of what life principles is somehow very. It somehow blends in together. Somehow blends together.
I think that's the beauty of books. Like,
that's the beauty of
having different authors talking about the same, not similar topics, but
in different ways.
You get to see different perspectives when you mash them ideas together.
Speaking of other books, right? Both of us are actually followers of Gary Vaynerchuk, right?
Yes.
One book that I actually finished last month, right? It's called The Courage to Be Disliked. I mentioned it like 1,000 times already.
Okay.
And I find it fascinating, right? That I would say like 99% of the concepts that are shared in this book called The Courage to Be Disliked, right? Okay. Is exactly what Gary Vaynerchuk is saying. That's why my mind was blown because like everything that I'm reading in this book, right? Because I'm quite a avid follower of Gary Vaynerchuk. And have you ever had this kind of experience?
Not
really.
Not really.
So like, okay, moving on. Gary Vaynerchuk, how do you discover about him in the first place? And to a certain extent, do you think that individuals like him has changed your life to a certain extent?
So I've randomly searched YouTube. I think it was some motivational video or something like that. And then, when at YouTube you scroll down, there's some listings, recommendations. I saw one video. I think it was about, what was the topic? 1 is better than 0.
Oh, 1 is better than 0. Okay.
Yes. So the concept of 1 is better than 0 is that you must do something, and that is a 1. It's actually plus 1. 0 means you're not doing anything. Inaction, right? Yeah. So it's basically the whole video was about just start doing something, to push towards your dreams and your goals. And not to just plan and in the end don't do anything. Then that's how you learn, because you plus 1 and then you learn again, and then you plus 2. It just keeps adding on your life experience and your lessons that you learned. There's no point in waiting and waiting for the time to come.
So I mean, your general advice from watching, or at least general conclusion from reading this book is reading this book. Watching this video is just to start lah. Yeah. I mean, I think it's like your example of starting Arc Logbook, is it? Arc Logbook and me starting this podcast. I think it's very it's similar in a sense. Similar in a sense. What kind of other principles from Gary Vaynerchuk would you think that are worth sharing? Like the most, like if you can take away all the kind of perspectives that he has given, right? What are the kind of principles that strikes out to you to be the most important?
I think I saw this post recently. I think it was yesterday. He was saying patience, right? Patience is very critical especially in our generation, where we are too caught up with like having immediate gratification. Like we have Netflix and we can just turn the button on. You can turn on Netflix straight away without waiting. And we have all these fast rewards coming in. But patience is something that we need to cultivate. We have to understand that, back in the day, our parents, they have...
that's why I feel very grateful.
Right? They need to wait for like mail to come, delivery of packages to come. But for us, it's just, it's now. It's coming in 2 days, in 1 day. Even for food, right? It delivers quickly.
So you learn to be more patient in every aspect of your life.
And not to be too critical on ourselves. To say that maybe we are trying out something new. Like for example, Art Logbook, right? Or maybe your podcast journey. I'm sure you've failed like a lot of times, right? I mean, in different aspects.
For those listeners, right? If you see, there's a reason why I didn't post the first few episodes.
There's so many behind the scenes things that you
there's a lot of behind the scenes.
That nobody sees, that hard work that you put in, right? And but personally, I feel that all of these experiences, trying something new, it molds me, and I'm patient to see how much I can grow as a person, and I'm patient to see how we can actually work together as a community of architects, or maybe even humans like me and you.
Like young Singaporean millennials to just come together and just talk or just do stuff lah.
Yes, and not to be too stuck to the screens, nowadays, to explore new things. Even Gary is saying, we should just try. This again, one is more than zero. So that's the main takeaway I got from Gary.
Okay, so changing gears, right? Because I was briefly talking to you about your upbringing in Singapore, like how you were, like, for context, right? Gabriel here has lived in like 4 places in Singapore, 4 or 5 places in Singapore for the last, until from 1 to 36 years old. Like, could you just share with me more about, in terms of, because you mentioned briefly to me that maybe it was about financial difficulties here and there, and if I'm not wrong, you also took a student loan as well.
Yes, I did.
And that is quite tricky to me, and especially I know that the fees for architectural, especially in SUTD, right, it's also not cheap as well. Like, can you just bring us a context of what you went through?
Yeah, sure. So I've stayed in 4 houses. So I think when my parents got married, we bought a flat in Jurong. That is in the west, and then we moved to Ang Mo Kio, and we moved to Marsiling as well.
When you say moved, do you mean renting at other places or like buying, selling?
Selling. Okay. So it's kind of like flipping houses, like Gary would say.
Wow,
it's
flipping houses. Oh, that requires a huge capital.
Actually, I of the view that flipping houses like HDBs, right? Is it a good investment? Because we did it out of like pure need for finances, lah. We really We really needed to sell the house because it's getting a much higher price now.
I mean, it really depends on priorities at the end of the day. And who am I to say that the decisions that your parents made are not good or whatever? But of course, when you keep changing houses, there are implications to it. Pros and cons, definitely. Financial wise, it's easy. I mean, the not so nice things is that you like social, family. Like, I don't know, as a child, I'm still in touch with my childhood friends from Pasir Ris. Like, I know so many people I can just randomly call up and have meals. That to me, I think that's the thing I love about Pasir Ris. Although I don't like the long commutes all the way to work, but what were the kind of implications that changing houses had on you when you were a child?
I mean, we learn how to detach certain like places and memories. I mean, I do remember the memories, like good memories we had like in childhood. Like in Ang Mo Kio, we actually get to run around Bishan Park, or even just to go to the nearest Upper Thomson. There's these nice food shop houses around for food.
So it sounds like it's a good thing. Like, you don't really be attached to places.
I would say so.
I think that's a very good like thing to learn.
And just to embrace everything that a new town has to offer. Like, really be immersed in the environment, and also to appreciate what you have. Basically, when we move houses, I mean, for example, in Marsiling, it's not, I would say, I think I wouldn't say it's bad. It's just it can be improved. Like the facilities.
You can really see the kind of different.
It's a very different
community.
Yes,
I think that's quite fascinating. Most Singaporeans live their whole lives. At least for me, only in Pasir Ris. I don't know. I like this place. Just that it's only the location that's not too convenient. But I think quite cool, man. Like, you can, like, how so? Can you elaborate more on the kind of difference? Is it? I don't want to be political here. Like, is it a different political party or whatever? Oh no, it's not. Right?
It's just the people who make up that community, like the housing estates, right?
How so different?
It's a bit tricky to say, but it's like, I mean, the racial divide, the ratios of the
racial divide, is it?
It's a bit. I mean, it's predominantly a lot of Malays there.
Okay.
So, I have to be very careful, right?
Okay.
I have to be very careful with this. Okay, so I mean, we do have different expectations, lah. So we try to work, like, to live harmoniously together, and sometimes expectations of cleanliness, or even like
okay, these kind of small things that are different, lah.
So it's I mean, it's also not purely a racial thing, lah. It's also even Chinese also. Some of us also, when I see walking around the void deck, you just see some uncles throwing rubbish on the floor. And then the cleaners don't clean up because the town council is not doing its job.
Okay.
Yeah, so it really depends. It's not just only Malays, lah. Just to clarify. Yeah. So the environment actually got me to appreciate the cleanliness of my current Pasir Ris area. Pasir Ris is the same as you. Yeah.
Both of us live in Pasir Ris right now, so I'm sure we can catch up more often. So moving on, right? Can you share more about taking loans as a university? How is it like? Which banks do you go to? A thought process of even getting a loan. At which point do you know, or at least do you have the talk with your parents that I want to study architecture? I want to study architecture. It's a mouthful. Gosh,
architecture. It's like 4 syllables.
Yeah, I want to study architecture. Oh my god, I'm gonna cut this. I'm gonna study architecture.
Okay.
Your parents.
Yeah.
How did the conversation go?
I mean, they're quite supportive. Yeah, I mean, because as long as I'm the one taking the loan, and I know that they are not able to support me like through this, because it's really a lot of money.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and then
do you mind sharing how much?
Oh, so sure. So it's actually $60,000. Yeah, for.
I think that's actually a normal range for architectural students.
It's around that range for. I think NUS is quite similar. Yeah.
I think for the previous friend I had, Leonard, I think his loan was about 40, 30. But in general, business degrees are cheaper.
I mean, because I did a master's.
Yes,
so it's an additional 1 year after my bachelor's.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's additional cost for me.
How did you go about taking a loan?
How do I go about it? I think the school actually made it easy for us. So we can actually arrange via the school to approach the bank. Then they'll give us some forms to fill, and that's it. It's pretty fast.
The process is actually very, very simple.
Yeah, they made it simple for us.
Is it attached with a particular bank that the school has tied up with?
Yeah, so they tied up with DBS.
Wow, it is very nice, right? I find it very fascinating. Like tertiary education or university education in general is very affordable, relative lah. Because I know friends, I'm sure you have friends that like go overseas. That undergraduate programs like $500,000. My gosh,
that's excluding the living expenses, right?
I think including, right? Including it's the living expenses which are really, really expensive. Right. I mean, in your view, just in a very macro perspective, from a kind of social circle that you have, like your friends, do you think it's worth going overseas to study?
I do have friends who are architecture who are studying in Australia, for example, and well, I mean, partly they're there because they couldn't get into the local universities, right? And they had to find opportunities elsewhere.
I think this is the same case for a lot of medicine students as well. Like a lot of my friends want to study medicine, but they can't get into the standards right here.
Yeah, so I mean,
no, in general, maybe this is not very good, because technically architectural lawyers, doctors, right? You need to have certain expertise.
Yes. Right.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry for the poor cashier. Moving on. Let's move on to the ending of the podcast, right? In general, what's on your mind right now? Just in the I don't know what questions. What do you learn this week?
What did I learn this week? Just to be patient. And to enjoy the process of like whatever I'm doing, like being here for the first time to meet you know?
I think it's quite fascinating.
And it's meeting new people, doing new things, trying out new stuff without expectation, and being patient of the fact that I will learn as an individual, I will grow, and to fail often, to fail fast, and to reframe that failure into something like a lesson, right? And
so actually, one thing I've been thinking on, right, like patience, right? Okay, this thought has been on my mind. Sometimes I think people use patience as an excuse. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Dude.
So you're telling yourself, okay, you're enjoying this whole process. Are you familiar with the term slave morality?
Slave morality?
Yes. Are you familiar with the term slave morality?
No, not really. Maybe you can define. I think there's some sort of similarity here.
Some sort of similarity in a sense whereby you're using patience as an excuse. Okay, this is like a whole new rabbit hole that I don't want to go into.
I think just in general, like
in general, slave morality, right? In very broad sense, I think in ancient times, I don't really know when this happened, but at a certain point of history, what was deemed to be powerful was to be wealthy, was to have a lot of money, was to have status, was to have assets, buildings, was to have many partners, all that kind of stuff. And of course, with this definition of powerful, right, it marginalizes people who don't have it, and it creates a very binary barrier between who is powerful and who is not powerful.
Right.
So slave morality, right, comes in a sense whereby majority of people are slaves back in those days. Like you could say 95% of people were slaves. And because of their sheer number, right, technically they redefined what the term powerful meant. So they defined powerful to be as compassionate, forgiving, having empathy, having patience. And by this definition, it would make the other party not powerful anymore. So it's this kind of mass definitions of terms in a very broad scale. I know this is not the actual definition of slave morality. It goes into a rabbit hole, a very, very deep explanation of it. So I was like thinking, sometimes I want to be able to balance myself as well. I'm not sure about you, but how I see is that I don't want to keep telling myself I'm patient, and that's why I don't optimize the processes that I can right now. Of course, you will always do everything in your ability to optimize what you can.
Yes.
But still having patience at the same time.
I would say patience. I mean, there's the good patience and the bad patience.
What's the bad patience?
The bad patience is like what you said. Like I need more time, but
yes.
but you don't know why.
Yeah.
But I think the key to breaking that bad patience is like to understand, is it a time issue, or is it a ability issue, or is it a motivation issue? Actually, there's this
time,
motivational, ability. Yeah, there's these three. I think. So this is actually from Fox, FOGGS behavioral model.
Behavioral model. Is a book?
It's more like a theory.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, it very briefly, right? It's just a graph that on two axes. One axis is motivation. The other axis is ability. So there's an action curve. So the points below the curve, right, is like you're not doing action yet.
Oh.
It's like too low motivation or too low ability.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then actually, if you cross over the action line, that will be because you have high motivation, high ability. Yeah. So if you have bad patience, right, I think the key is to understand like, why am I waiting?
Yes.
Yeah. Is it because I'm procrastinating, and why you procrastinate is because maybe you are afraid of failure, or is it because you don't know how to do it?
Yes.
So if you don't know how to do it, it's just need to find someone who knows how to do it.
It breaks it down in a very nice way. Yeah. There's two axes.
Yeah.
I need to check this out. That's very nice.
Yeah. So actually, how to start new things, actually, to understand what needs to be done to improve your motivation and to improve your ability. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's very fascinating.
So you break out from that. I want to make sure that it goes well. Yeah. By reframing failure, motivation is there because you know that I can fail. It's okay to fail, but you learn something from it. So just try. The ability is just the technicality. How do I do it actually? Yeah.
And on like in this age right now, right, I feel that most abilities, right, is very commoditized.
Yeah.
Not to, of course, like the skill of a surgeon, right? Okay, that is hardcore. But in general terms, like whether you want to do this podcast, right? If you're ever interested in doing podcast, how I really picked it out, right, was really just YouTube. YouTube changed my life, right? So I think like, there's really not much excuse that you can give.
Yes.
Not to say that, I don't want to judge people. Of course, they have priorities in doing the things that they want, spending time with family. I do spend time with my family as well. I'm going for a nice movie later, watching the Joker. But nice. I like doing these kind of things as well. The movie's great, by the way. Already, you watch it already? I watched it already. Okay, so we have come to the end of this podcast, right? If people are interested in reaching out to you, where can they find you? So I'm on Instagram. My personal profile is GABCHEK, Chek. My Art Logbook Instagram is Art Logbook, ARCHLOGBOOK. So I'll be sure to link all these up in the video description, and as well as his Webflow, your Webflow. LinkedIn as well. On LinkedIn, yes, your link. I'll tag you on the LinkedIn profile definitely. Yeah, before on LinkedIn, yeah. So thanks so much, Gabriel, for coming, and see you guys in the next one. Bye.